The World Anti-Doping Agency has given Kenya until April 5th to produce a plan or otherwise face exclusion from the 2016 Games in Rio, where fans from all over the world will come together to cheer on clean competition. For Al Jazeera, I'm Brandon Wilson.
And Bonds hits one high, hits it deep, it is out of here!
The battle against doping in sports is as high-pitched as ever in 2016, as the World Anti-Doping Agency reports an all-time low in public confidence in clean athletes. Maria Sharapova staggered the sport world this March when she tested positive for the banned substance meldonium. Just a few months earlier, WADA alleged that Russia's track and field engaged in a state-sponsored doping ring, resulting in the country's suspension by the International Athletics Federation. With the 2016 Olympics just around the corner, the agency wants to seek out doping before it happens.
We need to do more in advance rather than reacting. I mean, most of my life at WADA has been waking up in the morning and reacting to what happened overnight. And I would prefer to be more proactive and get out in front of stuff.
A fair plan, but one problem: their budget. WADA operates on about $27 million a year. Not enough, they say, for a short-staffed unit to seek out all the cheats. One of their proposed solutions? Sponsors.
I think we have to say to very successful commercial companies, for example, the pharmaceutical companies, with whom we work very closely, there is a real interest here for you and for us in clean sport, and they are big donors in a charitable sense.
One possible source is TV broadcast, which WADA's Director General says would help, even if the agency were to see 0.2% of the profit. The funds, he says, would go to boosting staff numbers, revamping the agency's 10-year-old IT system, and of course, more frequent and thorough investigations.
My job is to get as many clean athletes to an Olympic Games, and nor is my job to be particularly concerned about the civil rights of the cheats. It is to protect at all times the clean athletes.
Just this week, Kenyan athlete representative Noah Nyen, an Olympic gold medalist himself, quit his post, saying the country's authorities are not doing enough to combat doping.
Most of them that, if you heard of their names, they are young athletes. Some of them I'm seeing as if they're innocent. So we need to have a real program in athletics Kenya that is running to show these young athletes that doping is not the real way.
So how does PSG's performance this season compare to those from Europe's other so-called five big leagues? Well, Luis Enrique is winning everything as Barcelona coach this season. Back in 1998, he was doing it as a player. That Barca team wrapped up La Liga title race in Spain with 5 matches remaining. In 2001, Manchester United were dominating the English Premier League. They won their 14th league title that year in April with 5 matches remaining in the season. Fast forward to 2007, and Inter Milan were the team to beat in Italy. A corruption scandal had seen the big rival Juventus relegated, leaving the way clear for Inter to claim the title with 5 games to play. In 2014, German side Bayern Munich were even more dominant. They won the Bundesliga in March with 7 matches still left in the season. But that was no match for PSG this year. 8 matches left in the year. The French champions win it. They've only lost 1 game the entire campaign. 5 straight games without a win has hurt Arsenal's Premier League chances this season, but the Gunners made their case for the FA Cup against Hull City on Monday. 41st minute, a poor David Meyler pass allows Olivier Giroud to open the scoring just before halftime. The striker became a father the night before, and he dedicated his goal to his newborn son.
Giroud was a while without a goal. That will help him tonight, and he became father last night of a young boy, certainly that gave him a little euphoria.
And he did not stop at 1. The new dad puts the second-tier Hull City to bed with his 2nd goal on the day. Before this match, Giroud hadn't scored in 12 games, dating back to January 9th.
Assess the season after the season, and we'll give absolutely everything. We have not given up anywhere, and you will see that in coming weeks.
Despite what has been said in judgment of the Gunners' season, they have made their way into the FA Cup's final 8. Theo Walcott added 2 late goals to help his side to a convincing 4-0 victory. They'll take the momentum back home on Sunday, where they get Watford in the quarterfinal. Brandon Wilson, Al Jazeera.
Well, Leicester have kept their hold on top of the English Premier League, but they were made to work for it on Saturday. Late substitute Leonardo Ulloa struck in the 89th minute to give them a 1-0 victory over lowly Norwich. It's put them 5 points clear of Tottenham and Arsenal, who will be in action on Sunday. Well, the defending champions Chelsea, well, they're up to 11th now. They fought back to beat Southampton 2-1 with goals from Cesc Fabregas and Branislav Ivanovic.
I don't know whether there's been another European club that's managed to reach such a level of performance in the last 10 years. It shows this club's identity and the fact that it is doing things the right way, and also the high standards of the players. Not only those who come from our soccer school, but also those who have been signing, which is a matter of pride for us.
Still to come for you here on the News Hour. Find out which NHL rookie came of age for the Edmonton Oilers. That's coming up shortly in the Sports News with Andy.
The playoff race in the NBA's Eastern Conference is heating up. The Indiana Pacers took the court on Monday night, looking to pull ahead of their rivals. All that stood in their way, though, a certain LeBron James and the top-seeded Cavaliers. James shined with 33 points on his home floor, but this game going down to the wire, up by 2 with 20 seconds left. Tristan Thompson making a crucial block to protect the lead and set Cleveland up for the win, 100-96.
But replays showed they performed an illegal changeover, so they were relegated to silver and Russia were awarded to the gold. Much to, as you're going about to see, the frustration of the China coach Benoit Vetu, who has a suspected broken finger for his efforts. It's not funny at all. The Toronto Raptors have equalled their record of 11 straight home wins with their latest victory over the Utah Jazz. Kyle Lowry top scored with 32 points for the Raptors at the Air Canada Centre. DeMar DeRozan added 31 for the Atlantic Division leaders, Toronto winning 104-90. Crowd invasions at football matches are nothing new, but there was an invasion of a rather different nature during a game in Brazil. An estimated 1.5 million moths invaded the game between Juarez and Santa Cruz in northeastern Brazil. Special mention must go to that cameraman who continued to do his job, and they still managed to finish the game.
Still to come here on Al Jazeera, we've got all the sports news. The stakes are high for this herd of cattle at the Rally of Mexico. We'll have all the details after the break.
Golf's world number 1 Jordan Spieth has some work to do before the defence of his Masters title next month. Spieth did have some bright moments, including this birdie on the final hole, but ultimately tied for 18th after Sunday's final round at the Valspar Championship. Instead, it was 2011 Masters champion Charles Schwartzel who finished on top. The South African came from 5 shots back to force a playoff with Bill Haas, beating the American at the first extra hole. Schwartzel's victory was just his second on the PGA Tour. The annual Iditarod dog sled race has wrapped up in Alaska for 2016, and Musha Dallas CV celebrated a 4th win in 5 years. The American arrived in the city of Nome at around 2 a.m. local in a record time. It took him 8 days, 11 hours, 20 minutes and 16 seconds to complete the 1,600-kilometre race. CV's father came in 2nd place 45 minutes later, marking the duo's 2nd straight 1-2 finish.
Now, Manning holds so many NFL records, it would take about half an hour just to go through every single one of them. So here are his biggest hits. In terms of the regular season, no man has thrown for more yards than Peyton Manning. Over his career, he threw for nearly 72,000 yards. He also threw more touchdown passes than any other player in regular season. That's 539. And he was involved in the most wins. That mark of 200 also includes postseason games. So win number 200 would have been that victory in Super Bowl 50 against Carolina.
Is this historic? Sure, it's historic. But I think Ghent too would be in the quarterfinals for the first time, because that team can still achieve something too. I think tomorrow's game has many facets we need to pay attention to, and again, I think the team is very well prepared.
Coming up in sport, the NBA playoff race is in full swing. The Utah Jazz look for a crucial win in the Western Conference. And now with the details coming up in just a moment.
It's not like I'm going out to celebrate or anything. I'm just happy with the work we've done, because it's not easy to play a first and a second leg like this against such a strong rival. We have stood up, and at the end, we played the match we wanted.